Today's video, I wanted to do something different. I wanted to ask people about just life and how life has been for them. I have big plans for this channel, but this is just one step for this channel. So you may see different phases, but this was just an idea. Like it just came to me, so I'm gonna see how this goes. I'm going by a whim with this one, but stay tuned. Who am I here with?
My name's Stefan.
Stefan. Okay, so what are some issues you think society face, or what are some issues you think you face in life?
Well, not me specifically, but I think that there's a big problem with homeless situation, especially post-COVID. That it's really bad here in Ottawa. I live in Florida also, but I noticed after COVID, there's a lot more homeless people on the streets, and there seems to be a lack of housing for them. So I think that's really, really big right now. And also for seniors, there's a lot of seniors that seem to be displaced.
Who am I here with?
I'm Jay.
Jay? Okay, so from my sign here, what are some issues that you think society face right now that you would like to address?
Oh, good. Well, there's so many. There's ones that we've been going on for a while, like inflation and lack of food. Food banks are running dry. We've got current stuff like the Middle East conflict, and I'm seeing a lot of posters being put up that's just instigating hatred between Palestinians and Jews right now. I find that a little disturbing. I think outside of the area, we should be trying to nurture, coming together instead of, pushing apart. But I don't know if you've seen these posters around saying Israel are murderers and, Canada is supporting genocide, which we have. But I don't think we're promoting genocide in the Middle East right now. As far as I can see, the consensus has always been it's Hamas that's causing all this trouble. Hamas are killing their own people. Hamas are killing Jews and causing Israel to retaliate. And but we keep seeing more and more violence against Palestinians and Jews over here, where people are supposed to be able to live in peace together. So that's upsetting.
Do you think the way COVID happened, it impact our economic state here in Canada?
Absolutely, because everything shut down and people were afraid to work, and then they were given the CERB, benefits, and then even after that was dropped, the people didn't want to go back to work because they wanted to stay home in their pajamas.
That is true.
Yeah.
So, from seeing what's happening in the Middle East and Canada, what would you think would be a good solution to solve that issue itself?
Well, specifically the Middle East situation, obviously there needs to be a two-state solution. There needs to be room for everybody, and there is room for everybody. They just need to find a way to do it peacefully. I'm not from there, so I can't address specifics. I can't tell them how to go about it, because that's their situation that they know about. But, from what I've heard, the vast majority of Palestinians and the vast majority of people living in Israel want to be in peace and have been happily living in peace for the past 14 years until this recent attack just sparked this, outrage again. So I don't have any solutions, but I just know that, there needs to be some sort of two-state solution. You can't just have one state controlling the other.
Do you find that people don't interact with each other before the COVID?
Yeah,
or after, like the interaction with each other?
Well, it got worse during and after, but I find that with social media, like these devices, all my nieces and nephews, when I go out with them, they don't want to talk like we're talking. They're always texting and, they're on, Twitter and everything. And I think that it's too bad because people need to have more interaction.
You think, all right, because do you think people are just more focused on themselves and all the problems that are occurring they have to deal with, so they don't want to interact with people, they're just focused on themselves?
Yeah, in a word, yes. I think people are quite selfish in a way, but it's survival though, because they're struggling to survive, and they turn a blind eye to other people. There's not as many good Samaritans out there the way there used to be, and they're very complacent about some of the other problems. Like, I'm part Ukrainian, so there's a lot of my relatives in the Ukraine that are, still fighting in the war, and that kind of got pushed off the front page now because of what's going on in Israel and Palestine. But I mean, it's still bad everywhere, and I mean, we're pretty lucky here in Ottawa and Canada compared to the rest of the world. But I think that we all have to try to work together to try to, get together and solve these problems, because it's getting really out of hand. And now you can see everything in real time, like when there's a bombing, it's on TV in an hour, everything. So it's pretty frightening.
Do you think the West is part of the problem because they're going against each other, and then it kind of pushed the war even more, you think?
Well, it put the West in a really awkward position because the West supports both sides, and Joe Biden had to come out and support Israel, and that upset a lot of people. But you can't come out and not support anybody. I don't know the answers. I just know I can recognize the problems.
So, if Joe Biden would have said cease war, let's find a solution instead of going with one side, would that be a better decision from your outlook on it? Or
it probably would have been a better political decision. It probably would have not raised the ire of a lot of people, because it did seem like he chose a side. And he represents all people that live under him, Palestinians, Jews, Arabs, everybody. I saw a great piece, I can't remember whose show it was, but the show had a Catholic priest, a Jewish rabbi.
Piers Morgan.
It wasn't Piers Morgan. I don't watch Piers Morgan. It was something on MSNBC. I watch a lot of MSNBC. But they were talking about the commonalities between the peoples. They were saying all three religions come from Abraham. They're all descended from Abraham. I don't know the Bible that well myself, but there's common ground there. Yeah. They're cousins. They're all cousins. All three groups of cousins. I mean, the way they describe Jesus is Jesus was a Palestinian Jew, and Christianity is based on him. So all three religions are very closely connected. There shouldn't be this conflict, morally speaking.
Do you think we as a community and a society, if we talk more and interact with each other and have these conversations without getting, you hurt my feelings type of way, or instead of cutting family members off because they have a different point of view and a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
If we can come together and actually sit down and have this conversation, because from what I can see, everyone is so divided. So if we can come together and talk and have issues, and it probably will make society better. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree 100%. First of all, nobody's the same. We're all different. We're all born. Even in my family, I come from a big family. I'm a Catholic. I was brought up a certain way, but I'm very different from all my siblings. And there's now Ottawa, Canada is very multicultural. And the thing is, everybody has to work together. Like, it was founded, like, my parents were immigrants and they worked really hard. But now there's a lot of different immigrants coming in from all over the world, and they have to assimilate, but we have to work together. We can't assume that things are going to be the way they used to be, but the immigrants also have to understand that they're coming to another country and they have to respect our country too. Like, it's a two-way street. And they can't just assume all of a sudden that everything that they were brought up in is going to work here, because it's not. Like, we have to work together. And I'm talking about religions, like, there's Catholic, Jewish, Muslims, Buddhists, everything. Like, that's fine. But we all have to kind of work together. And then all the different races, there's a lot of racial tension, a lot of sexual tension with especially the LGBT community. And now it's very, the pride here in Ottawa was fantastic, I think. But there's still a lot of prejudice, towards, there's so many different names and identifications. I'm kind of confused on what to call people anymore, With
the LGBTQ push now in society, do you think most people dislike them, or they have an issue of how the situation is being pushed on kids in younger
Well,
in smaller kids.
Well, I don't I think most people don't really care, but when it comes to children, they're very protective.
Okay.
But I don't think a drag queen reading a story to a child is going to convert anybody. Like, I used to work for Disney, and people love costumes and fantasy, and the kids aren't going to all of a sudden, just because a drag queen's reading to them, they're going to all of a sudden be converted to be gay. That's not going to happen. So but I think that it's too extreme on each side of it, and people have to settle down and calm down. But because so many people were oppressed,
Yeah. I think most human beings are similar in general.
Yeah.
I think.
Like, this all came about because of what happened in 1948 when European colonizers who had controlled the Middle East just decided, okay, this chunk of land now belongs to these people, and of course European colonizers have caused most of the problems in the world over the past 500 years or so.
Me myself, I'll tell a little. Like, for me, I'm looking at it from a global aspect. Like, there are certain things that in play that I do question a lot, like the agenda behind certain things that are pushed one-sided. And then there's just so much to it. So now I'm digging like in the Jewish belief, the Christianity, the Muslim belief, and then see what because they do believe in the same thing. It's just maybe different symbols that portray God in a way. So
Kind of like all the denominations
It's like-
of Christianity. They're
Yeah.
all believing in Christ, but one denomination believes, the sacrament is actually Christ. Another denomination believes, it's not actually the sacrament of Christ. It's not actually his body. And then the two groups go to war with each other, and lots of people are killed in the name of Jesus Christ. It's ridiculous because they're all believing in the same basic principles, but people seem to like to divide rather than to bring together.
and look at the Indigenous people of Canada. Now, all of a sudden, with all the revelations about what happened to all the unmarked graves and everything, so now they're really aggressively trying to get recognized, something they've needed for years. But now the pendulum's swinging too far one way. It has to come back. We all have to meet in the middle. That's how I feel with most of the issues. Like, there's the right and the left, and they have very strong feelings, but everybody has to meet in the middle, I think.
fair enough.
And also just listen to other people, because you'd be surprised what you might learn if you just shut up and listen,
Yeah. But for people to learn, they have to talk to each other, and people don't talk to each other anymore.
Not
I find.
anymore. People are too busy. I wouldn't want to be a teenager these days. There's too much pressure. Social media is a wonderful thing, but it's also a terrible thing, because like I cut back a lot. I'm only on Facebook right now because it was just too much. I want to have my own time and talk to my own friends, and do things like go for a walk and stuff. I don't want to be on my phone and all the time checking for messages in a movie theater or something. Like, you need to just but it is a wonderful device because I can talk to my friends and family all over the world, and that's a wonderful thing. But it shouldn't control your life.
True.
And same thing with religion. Religion's a wonderful thing, but it has to enhance your life, not be a crutch. I'm not preaching to you that you should read the Bible, and I was brought up a certain way. I have my beliefs, but I've also traveled all over the world, and I've picked up little things from all different religions, cultures, and everything, and now I have my own spiritual kind of thing. But I've been lucky because I've traveled a lot,
I like that.